On the morning of January 8, 2009, the body of 32-year-old Michael Reeves was discovered by a jogger on the outskirts of Redford, a small town in western Pennsylvania. The grim discovery was made at approximately 7:15 in the morning along Millstone Trail, a wooded path popular among locals for its serene scenery and proximity to the Redford River. According to the police report filed later that day, the jogger, identified as Sarah Matthews, immediately contacted the Redford Police Department upon stumbling across what she initially assumed to be a large, discarded tarp. Officers from the Redford Police Department arrived on the scene within 20 minutes. Detective John Harris, the lead investigator assigned to the case, noted in his initial report that Michael Reeves was found face down, partially covered in fallen leaves. He was wearing a blue windbreaker, black running shorts, and a single white running shoe. The other shoe was found 3 feet away, stuck in the mud. No identification was found on the body, although a set of keys and a crumpled receipt from a local convenience store were recovered from the pocket of his windbreaker. Autopsy results later revealed that Michael Reeves suffered blunt force trauma to the back of the head, which was identified as the cause of death. The time of death was estimated to be between 10 and midnight the previous night. Coroner Dr. Emily Wallace noted in her report that there were no defensive wounds on his hands or arms, suggesting that Reeves was either taken by surprise or incapacitated prior to the fatal blow. Toxicology screens showed no evidence of drugs or alcohol in Reeves's system at the time of his death. The investigation quickly shifted focus to the last known movements of Michael Reeves. According to his phone records, Michael's last outgoing text was sent at 8:59 on the night of January 7th to a contact saved as Megan. The text read, "Leaving the gym now. See you soon." Megan Riley, identified as Michael's girlfriend of 2 years, was interviewed by Detective Harris the following day. She stated that Michael had never arrived at her apartment that night, and her subsequent calls to him went unanswered. Meanwhile, a deeper look into Michael's life revealed that he was a well-liked member of the community, working as a high school history teacher at Redford High School. His colleagues described him as dedicated and personable, with no known enemies or conflicts. His students spoke of his passion for teaching and his active involvement in after-school activities. However, it was noted that Michael had recently confided in a close friend about feeling followed during his evening runs, a detail that was corroborated by a series of text messages found on his phone, exchanged with his brother, Andrew Reeves. In the weeks that followed, the Redford Police Department received over 200 tips through their established hotline, but none provided a solid lead. The jogger, Sarah Matthews, was re-interviewed, confirming that she had seen no other individuals on the trail that morning, nor had she heard any unusual sounds the previous night, despite living just half a mile from the scene. By mid-February, with little progress made, the case caught the attention of the local media. The Redford Gazette ran a series of articles detailing the investigation's challenges and profiling Michael Reeves's life and untimely death. Public interest surged, putting increased pressure on Detective Harris and his team. In one interview, Detective Harris admitted, "This case puzzles us because we have a seemingly straightforward crime scene. Yet the motive remains elusive." March brought the first significant development when a witness came forward claiming to have seen a suspicious vehicle parked near Millstone Trail on the night of January 7th. The witness, Mark Turner, provided a description of a dark green sedan with a broken taillight. The vehicle, however, could not be located, and its connection to the crime remained speculative. Further investigation into Michael's personal life revealed a seemingly minor but intriguing detail. He had recently withdrawn a significant sum of money from his bank account, totaling $4,000, just days before his death. Bank records showed no obvious reason for the withdrawal, and the cash was never located. In April, the Redford police requested assistance from the FBI's Pittsburgh field office, hoping that additional resources might shed light on the case. The FBI's involvement brought renewed vigor to the investigation, with agents reviewing all forensic evidence and re-interviewing key witnesses. However, despite their efforts, no new leads emerged. 14 years later, the murder of Michael Reeves remains unsolved. His family continues to seek answers, holding an annual vigil at Redford High School to commemorate his life. In a statement issued during the most recent memorial, Michael's brother, Andrew, expressed the ongoing pain of living with the uncertainty. "Every year we hope for closure," he said, "but every year we are left with the same questions." The case file, numbered 98013, remains open, resting in the archives of the Redford Police Department, a testament to the mystery that continues to haunt the town. On the morning of January 8th, 2009, Michael Reeves's activities were routine, according to multiple interviews with those who crossed paths with him. At approximately 8 o'clock in the morning, he was seen leaving his residence at 214 Maple Lane in the West End neighborhood of Redford, Pennsylvania. Neighbors, including Mrs. Angela Palmer, reported that Michael habitually started his day with a brisk walk around the block. That day was no different. Michael's morning route took him to the corner cafe, the Daily Grind, located 2 blocks away on Jefferson Street. Surveillance footage from the cafe, timestamped at 8:32, shows Michael ordering a latte. Wearing his usual blue windbreaker and carrying a canvas messenger bag, he spoke briefly with the barista, Andrea Nguyen. Nguyen later told investigators that Michael appeared in high spirits and mentioned plans to spend the day exploring nearby hiking trails, a favorite pastime of his. By 9:15, Michael was recorded at the Redford Public Library on Oak Street, where he accessed a public computer terminal. Library records indicate he used the computer for precisely 27 minutes, primarily browsing maps of local trails and weather forecasts. This aligns with Detective John Harris's findings, as noted in the initial police report. Librarian Jenna Freeman, who spoke with him that morning, described Michael as focused and in a bit of a hurry. An hour later, at approximately 10:30, Michael was spotted at the Redford Outdoor Supply Company, located on Main Street. Store manager Paul Jordan confirmed that Michael purchased a new pair of trail shoes and a refillable water bottle. Jordan specifically remembered Michael because they had a brief conversation about recent rain making some trails muddy. Michael expressed excitement about exploring the Millstone Trail, saying he hadn't visited in several months. By 11:45, Michael reportedly sent a text message to his brother, Andrew Reeves. The message read simply, "Headed out to Millstone for some fresh air. We'll check in later. Love you, bro." This was the final communication known to be sent by Michael that day. Andrew Reeves later shared this message with investigators, indicating a typical exchange between the brothers whenever Michael ventured out alone. That afternoon, just after 1 o'clock, witnesses placed Michael's vehicle, a silver Ford Focus, parked at the Millstone Trail's entrance on County Road 12. Several hikers recalled seeing the car as they set off on their own excursions. Its presence was confirmed by Park Ranger Lyle Thompson, who conducted a routine patrol of the parking area around 1:30. Thompson noted nothing unusual at the time. One significant observation emerged from interviews with hikers on the trail that day. Sarah Whitaker, a local school teacher, recounted crossing paths with Michael around 2 o'clock near the trail's midpoint. She described him as cheerful and polite, noting his blue windbreaker as a distinctive feature. Whitaker remembered Michael because they exchanged brief remarks about the pleasant weather, and he commented on how good it felt to be outdoors. Several hours elapsed with no further confirmed sightings of Michael. Concerns were raised when he failed to return home by evening. According to phone records, Andrew Reeves made several attempts to contact Michael, beginning around 6:30, but received no response. By nightfall, Michael's absence became increasingly alarming. Detective John Harris's team reconstructed Michael's likely movements on the trail using data from his phone's GPS, which recorded his location intermittently until approximately 4:35 that afternoon. After this point, the signal was lost, attributed to the dense forest canopy or deliberate deactivation. This gap in tracking added a layer of complexity to the investigation. In the days that followed, searches of the Millstone Trail were conducted meticulously by local law enforcement, assisted by volunteers and cadaver dogs from the Redford Police Department's K9 unit. However, the rugged terrain and extensive woodland complicated efforts to locate any trace of Michael beyond his initial path. In subsequent weeks, the investigation expanded. According to case file 98013, Detective Harris coordinated with the Redford County Coroner's Office to analyze any personal belongings recovered. A pair of sunglasses, a notepad, and an unopened granola bar were found in Michael's messenger bag. Notably absent were his wallet and mobile phone, which have yet to be recovered. On February 2nd, 2009, a month after Michael's disappearance, Andrew Reeves convened a press conference, appealing to the public for any information about his brother's whereabouts. The event, covered by the Redford Gazette, drew attention from regional media and prompted additional calls to the tip line, but no substantial leads emerged. Over the ensuing months, the case grew cold. Despite extensive interviews, including with hikers like Sarah Whitaker and the staff of nearby establishments, no new evidence materialized to clarify how Michael's routine day concluded in tragedy. FBI involvement, as noted in later updates to the case file, expanded the investigation's scope, yet even federal resources struggled to produce breakthroughs. As of today, the mystery of who killed Michael Reeves remains unsolved. The trail of evidence, though methodically pursued, yields more questions than answers. With each year that passes, the echoes of an interrupted life linger, marking the case as one of Redford's most perplexing cold cases. On the morning of January 9th, 2009, forensic teams were dispatched to the scene on Willow Lane, where Michael Reeves's body had been discovered the day before. The investigation commenced with the meticulous task of securing the area to ensure no potential evidence would be overlooked. The Redford Police Department, working in conjunction with the FBI and the Redford County Crime Lab, systematically combed the site for any forensic clues that could shed light on the events leading up to Michael's death. The initial examination of the vicinity revealed several items of interest. A torn fragment of fabric, consistent with the type from Michael's blue windbreaker, was found snagged on a branch approximately 30 feet from where his body was located. According to Detective Jane Marshall, who led the forensic team, the fabric piece suggested a possible struggle or quick movement through the wooded area. This detail was corroborated by a subsequent mapping of his likely movements in the vicinity using both GPS data and physical evidence. A significant focus of the investigation was the patch of disturbed earth near the body. Soil samples were collected and later analyzed by forensic geologist Dr. Alan Pearson. The analysis revealed traces of an unusual mineral composition not typically found in the area. Dr. Pearson noted in his report that the presence of these minerals indicates the possibility of an item or object having been moved or removed from the site. Moreover, the crime scene investigators recovered a single black leather glove, approximately 15 feet from the primary site of interest. The glove was sent to the Redford County Crime Lab, where trace analysis revealed a small amount of blood not matching Michael's DNA profile. The blood sample was entered into the national database, yet as of the latest review in 2023, no match has been identified. On January 11th, 2009, a more detailed forensic sweep was conducted. During this operation, investigators uncovered a shard of glass embedded in the soil, partially concealed by leaves and debris. The shard was subjected to fingerprint analysis, revealing partial prints that were later determined to belong to an unknown individual. In a subsequent statement to the Redford Gazette, Detective Marshall remarked, "These prints present a new lead, yet without a match. It's another piece of the puzzle requiring further investigation." Also recovered at the scene was a crumpled receipt from the Daily Grind, a local coffee shop frequented by Michael Reeves. The receipt, dated January 7th, 2009, listed a purchase time of 3:15 in the afternoon, suggesting that Michael had visited the establishment shortly before his untimely demise. Investigators interviewed Angela Palmer, an employee of the Daily Grind, who recalled seeing Michael that day. According to her testimony, He seemed in good spirits and chatted briefly with Andrea Nguyen, a regular at the shop. Further investigation revealed a connection between Michael and several individuals at the Redford Public Library, where Michael had been an active member. Detective John Harris conducted interviews with library staff and patrons, collecting testimonies regarding Michael's activities leading up to his disappearance. Notably, library records indicated Michael had borrowed several books on local history in the days prior to his death. This detail prompted investigators to consider whether Michael had uncovered information that might have contributed to his murder. Forensic entomology played a role in narrowing the time of death. Insects collected from the remains were analyzed to establish a more precise timeframe. Entomologist Dr. Sarah Kendall's findings aligned with the estimated time of death window previously proposed by the coroner. According to Dr. Kendall, the insect activity suggests the body was exposed for a limited period before discovery, consistent with a late-night time of death. Interviews with residents of Willow Lane revealed a range of observations, none more intriguing than that of Lyle Thompson, who reported hearing unusual sounds outside his home on the night of January 8, 2009. In a statement to the Redford Police Department, Thompson recounted, "I heard what sounded like a struggle, followed by a loud thud around midnight." Despite these observations, searches of the area yielded no immediate evidence directly linking the sounds to Michael's murder. Evidence from the crime scene also included a discarded cigarette butt, located near the path entrance where Sarah Matthews, the jogger who discovered Michael's body, frequently ran. DNA extracted from the cigarette was processed, yet no matches were found in the national database. This piece of evidence remains a point of inquiry, as investigators continue to seek any connections to potential suspects. In the days following the discovery, the tip line set up by the Redford Police Department received an influx of over 200 calls. Among these, a call stood out from Jenna Freeman, an employee at Redford Outdoor Supply Co. Freeman reported selling a similar windbreaker jacket to a man fitting the description of a person seen near Millstone Trail on the evening of January the 7th. Despite efforts to identify this individual, no further leads have materialized from this testimony. As the investigation progressed, the comprehensive collection and analysis of forensic evidence opened new avenues and intensified the mystery surrounding Michael Reeves's death. The unanswered questions and unresolved leads continue to haunt the investigators, challenging the boundaries of forensic science and the persistence of the Redford Police Department in seeking justice for Michael Reeves. The case, with its intricate web of clues and yet-to-be-identified connections, remains one of Redford's most perplexing unsolved mysteries. According to official police records, the initial phase of the investigation into Michael Reeves's death heavily focused on the small network of people closely tied to him, both personally and professionally. Redford Police Department's Detective John Harris, who had been assigned to the case, quickly began compiling a list of individuals with any conceivable motive to harm Reeves. This list was generated through a series of interviews with family, friends, and colleagues, as well as a review of phone records and financial transactions. Early in the investigation, the spotlight turned to Michael's older brother, Andrew Reeves. The two brothers were close, but there had been recent tension. According to a statement given by Lyle Thompson, a friend of the family interviewed on January 12, 2009, the siblings had argued over the sale of their late mother's house. Andrew, who lived at 42 Cedar Lane, 7 miles from Michael's residence, told detectives during his initial interview that he had been home on the night of January 7th, watching television. His alibi was supported by his neighbor, Mrs. Clara Jennings, who reported seeing Andrew's car parked in the driveway throughout the night. Phone records from Andrew's landline also revealed a call made to a local pizza delivery service at 8:15 in the evening, reinforcing his claim of staying in. Despite this corroboration, Andrew's name remained on the list of persons of interest. Investigators were cautious not to rule anyone out prematurely, especially given the unresolved disputes between the brothers. However, the lack of any physical evidence linking Andrew to the crime scene and the validation of his alibi led detectives to widen their scope. The investigation then turned to Jenna Freeman, co-owner of the Redford Outdoor Supply Company, who had known Michael since their high school days at Redford High School. Freeman had been spotted in the vicinity of Millstone Trail by a passerby, Thomas Weaver, on January 9th. Weaver, a local resident with no prior connection to the case, noted the encounter in an informal chat with Detective Harris during a canvassing operation. Freeman confirmed her presence on the trail, stating in a sworn affidavit that she often hiked there in the mornings as part of her routine. An examination of her phone GPS data corroborated her account, showing her movements consistent with her statement. Additionally, Freeman's financial records reviewed by the Redford Police Department showed a transaction at the Daily Grind coffee shop at approximately 7:30 on the morning of January 8th, providing further evidence of her usual routine. Another key figure in the early stages of the investigation was Megan Riley, Michael's on-again, off-again romantic partner. Riley, who worked at a nearby veterinary clinic, had a complex and sometimes volatile relationship with Reeves. Detective Jane Marshall, also assigned to the case, conducted an extensive interview with Riley on January 13, 2009. Riley admitted to having had a heated argument with Michael on January 6th, but claimed not to have seen him since that day. Her cell phone records, obtained by the Redford County Crime Lab, showed no activity in the vicinity of Millstone Trail during the critical window of January 7th to 8th, and witnesses at the clinic confirmed her presence at work until at least 6 in the evening on the 7th. Despite Detective Marshall's thorough interview and the digital evidence supporting Riley's claims, the complexity of her relationship with Reeves led investigators to keep her file open. Riley's emotional ties to the victim and the timing of their recent disagreement necessitated a careful review of all related evidence, including any forensic anomalies that might arise during the processing of items collected at the scene. Local resident Paul Jordan, known for his frequent early morning jogs along Millstone Trail, was another individual who became entangled in the investigation. Jordan reported having seen an unfamiliar vehicle parked at the trailhead on the morning of January 8th, as noted in his statement to Detective Harris. The vehicle, described as a dark green SUV with out-of-state plates, was later identified as belonging to a visitor who had stayed at a nearby bed and breakfast. The guest, a traveling salesman named Carl Mitchell, was interviewed and cleared after providing receipts and witness testimony, confirming his attendance at an out-of-town convention that aligned with the dates in question. As the investigation progressed, the focus shifted to less personal, more circumstantial connections in Michael's life. That included an examination of business dealings and any professional disputes that might have escalated to violence. Redford Gazette reporter Mark Turner highlighted one such aspect in a series of articles published that February. Turner delved into Reeves's recent business ventures, pointing out a failed investment with a partner named Brian Olson, who was later interrogated by police. Olson, a 53-year-old entrepreneur, confirmed through legal documentation that the investment had dissolved amicably months prior, and his whereabouts during the time of Michael's death were verified through hotel receipts in New York City, where he was attending a trade show. Despite exhaustive interviews and alibis being checked, none of these avenues yielded the crucial breakthrough needed. By late February, the task of untangling Michael Reeves's last known interactions continued, with law enforcement remaining vigilant. The Redford Police Department, in conjunction with the FBI, kept the lines open for tips, hoping that a piece of seemingly insignificant evidence might yet connect the remaining threads of this perplexing case. On February 15, 2009, the Redford Police Department received new testimony relevant to the investigation of Michael Reeves's death. A local resident, Rebecca Lane, contacted Detective Jane Marshall after reading about the case in the Redford Gazette. Miss Lane reported seeing a man matching Michael Reeves' description arguing with another individual in the parking lot of the Redford Shopping Center on the evening of January 7, 2009. According to Ms. Lane, the argument appeared heated but did not escalate into a physical altercation. The time she provided, around 8:30 in the evening, was consistent with the period leading up to Michael's last confirmed whereabouts. Detective Marshall, in a subsequent interview on February 17, 2009, noted that Ms. Lane described the other individual as being tall, wearing a dark coat, and having a distinctive limp. Ms. Lane's recollection of the events came under scrutiny due to the time lapse and the limited visibility that evening. However, her account initiated a re-evaluation of the known timeline. Another witness, Evan Rodriguez, a server at the Daily Grind Cafe, came forward on March 3, 2009. Rodriguez recounted waiting on a patron who fit the description of Michael Reeves, accompanied by a man who displayed agitated behavior. This encounter allegedly occurred on the evening of January 7, 2009, around 7:15. Rodriguez recalled that the man, described as having shaggy blonde hair and wearing an oversized parka, seemed to be under significant distress, frequently glancing towards the entrance. Rodriguez provided a detailed description of the man's voice, which he described as hoarse and aggressive. Detective Harris conducted a follow-up interview with Rodriguez, corroborating this account with CCTV footage from the Daily Grind, which was later reviewed on March 6, 2009. The footage, while not showing clear facial features, confirmed the presence of two individuals matching Rodriguez's report. The film also captured them leaving the cafe together at approximately 7:45. In light of these testimonies, further investigation was carried out by Detective Jane Marshall. A third-party analysis of the collected witness statements was undertaken by the Redford County Crime Lab in conjunction with forensic psychologist Dr. Alan Pearson. Dr. Pearson's behavioral analysis, concluded on March 15, 2009, suggested that the individual's behavior at the Daily Grind might be indicative of someone under psychological stress. Simultaneously, another report surfaced on March 20, 2009, from Susan Hargrove, a neighbor of Michael Reeves. Ms. Hargrove stated she witnessed a vehicle fitting the description of a dark green SUV parked near Michael's residence at 214 Maple Lane on several occasions in the weeks before his death. Ms. Hargrove recalled the vehicle's license plate as partially obscured, but noted distinctive bumper stickers promoting outdoor activities. This information was cross-referenced against DMV records for the region, although no immediate matches were identified. The Redford Police Department issued a public request on April 2, 2009, seeking any additional information about the SUV or its driver. Over the following weeks, several new tips were received, but failed to yield definitive leads. Detective John Harris emphasized that this vehicle remained a key focus in solving the case. On April 25, 2009, a new development unfolded as a local mechanic, Richard Hayes, alerted authorities to recent work performed on a dark green SUV that matched the description provided by Susan Hargrove. According to Hayes, the vehicle, serviced at Redford Auto Repair, had undergone significant bodywork, including repairs to its rear bumper. Hayes also mentioned that the owner paid in cash and avoided providing personal details. This prompted an expanded inquiry into local repair shops, seeking additional records of similar vehicles serviced around the same period. As the investigation continued, Redford police detectives reached out to surrounding counties for assistance, hoping to identify the SUV's owner. By mid-May, Detective Jane Marshall reported collaboration with neighboring jurisdiction databases, though no conclusive matches had been found. The following month, on June 12, 2009, an anonymous tip led detectives to an unregistered property located just outside Redford city limits. Inside the property, investigators discovered several items believed to be linked to Michael Reeves, including an old photograph of him and a set of keys engraved with the initials MR Forensic Analysis by Redford County Crime Lab, finalized on June 18, 2009, confirmed the keys belonged to Michael's residence. The source of these items and their connection to the property owner remained unresolved. Throughout the summer of 2009, detectives continued to piece together the fragments of the case. In July, an investigative segment aired on local television station WRFV, featuring interviews with Detective John Harris and Dr. Emily Wallace, the Redford County coroner. The segment sought to renew public interest and elicit further information from viewers. Despite these efforts, the murder of Michael Reeves remained unsolved. The case continued to present complexities and unexplained discrepancies. Each new witness account, or piece of evidence only deepened the enigma surrounding the events of January 7th and 8th, 2009. As the investigation unfolded, detectives urged anyone with information, no matter how inconsequential it seemed, to come forward. In the spring of 2009, the investigation into the death of Michael Reeves faced a significant hurdle. On April 15th, 2009, the Redford Police Department received information from a local resident, Helen Saunders, that potentially linked a nearby construction site to the murder. Saunders, who lived on Evergreen Avenue, had reported unusual activity at the site on the evening of January 7th that year. Detective Jane Marshall pursued this lead. According to the police report filed on April 18th, she visited the location on Elm Street, a proposed office complex development. There, she discovered a discarded construction helmet with traces of a substance similar to the unusual minerals found on the fabric fragment linked to Michael Reeves. The helmet was sent to the Redford County Crime Lab for further testing. On April 22, 2009, the crime lab confirmed that the minerals on the helmet matched those found on the fabric piece. This discovery suggested a potential connection between the construction site and the crime scene. However, further investigation was stalled when local contractor Henry Blake, who managed the site, was unable to produce clear records of workers present on the evening in question. Blake claimed in an interview on April 23, 2009, that the records had been lost in an unexpected office flood a month prior. Around this time, Detective Marshall also received an anonymous letter postmarked April 30, 2009. The letter, written in block letters, suggested that Michael Reeves had been seen arguing with an unidentified man near the corner of Birchwood and Maple Lane just days before his death. The writer of the letter claimed to have witnessed this altercation but refused to reveal their identity or provide further details. Attempts to trace the origin of the letter were unsuccessful, as the postmark led only to a general mailing facility in Pittsburgh. On May 5, 2009, Detective John Harris revisited the Reeves family, speaking with Michael's cousin, Lucy Reeves. According to Detective Harris's notes from the interview, Lucy mentioned a strange phone call Michael had received on the evening of January 6, 2009. She recalled that Michael had seemed agitated after the call and mentioned meeting someone the following day. Lucy did not recognize the number when shown the phone records, and it was traced to a prepaid phone purchased in a neighboring county. The case took another turn on May 15, 2009, when the Redford Gazette published an article about the lack of progress in the investigation. The article, penned by investigative journalist Robert Lang, criticized the Redford Police Department's handling of the case and highlighted the department's failure to secure crucial evidence. This public scrutiny spurred the involvement of an independent consultant, Dr. Margaret Ellis, a forensic psychologist with expertise in criminal profiling. Dr. Ellis reviewed the case files, focusing on Michael Reeves's behavioral patterns and social connections. In her report, submitted on June 1, 2009, she noted inconsistencies in witness statements regarding Michael's activities on the day of his death. Dr. Ellis emphasized the importance of examining Michael's financial records, suggesting possible motives related to personal or business disputes. Following Dr. Ellis's advice, Detective Harris obtained a subpoena for Michael Reeves's financial records. The records, received on June 10, 2009, revealed several unusual transactions in the weeks leading up to his death. Michael had withdrawn substantial amounts of cash from his account at the Redford Savings Bank, totaling over $4,000. Additionally, there were frequent deposits from an unknown account, raising questions about Michael's financial dealings. Further inquiries revealed that the unknown account was registered under the name of a William Duncan, a name unfamiliar to both family and business associates. Efforts to locate Duncan were unproductive. The address registered to the account led to a vacant lot in a remote area of Fairfield County. On June 20, 2009, a new piece of potential evidence emerged. A local hiker, Greg Sullivan, contacted the Redford Police Department after discovering a pair of broken glasses near Millstone Trail. Sullivan reported that he had seen the glasses while on a routine hike. but only realized their potential significance after following media coverage of the case. The glasses were retrieved and analyzed by the crime lab. On June 25, 2009, forensic analyst Dr. Leah Morgan confirmed that the prescription matched that of Michael Reeves. Additionally, traces of DNA found on the glasses were consistent with Reeves's genetic profile. However, without further leads, the glasses added another layer of complexity rather than clarity. Throughout the summer of 2009, the investigation continued to face obstacles. Key pieces of evidence remained uncorroborated, and several promising leads reached dead ends. Despite intensive efforts, the case of Michael Reeves remained unsolved, marked by unanswered questions and persistent mystery. As autumn approached, the Redford Police Department and collaborating agencies were left grappling with the enigma that was case file 98013. In early July of 2023, nearly 14 years after Michael Reeves was found dead on Millstone Trail, Redford Police Department received an unexpected lead. The Redford Gazette reported that a new witness had come forward following a summer cleanup event at Millstone Park. The witness, identified as 39-year-old Martin Green, claimed to have been in the area on the night of January 7, 2009, but had remained silent out of fear of being implicated. Martin Green's statement, obtained during an interview with Detective Jane Marshall, provided new information about a vehicle he observed parked near the trailhead that night. According to Green, the vehicle was a distinctive blue pickup truck with a visible dent on the rear left fender. Detective Marshall cross-referenced this description with police records from that time, but found no matching vehicles previously reported. This prompted the Redford Police Department to issue a renewed public appeal for any information regarding such a vehicle. On July 18, 2023, a significant development emerged when a local tipster, James O'Connor, contacted the Redford Police Department tip line. O'Connor, a retired mechanic, stated in his call that he had repaired a blue pickup truck matching the description provided by Green in early 2009 at his now-closed repair shop, O'Connor's Auto Service, located on Main Street. O'Connor provided the name of the truck's owner as a Derek Montgomery, a name not previously associated with the Reeves case. Further investigation into Derek Montgomery revealed that he was residing at 412 Willow Lane, Redford, at the time of Michael Reeves's murder. Public records indicated Montgomery moved out of Redford in late 2009, relocating to a remote town in Montana. Detective John Harris, now consulting on the case following his retirement, suggested that Montgomery should be questioned, given his proximity to the crime scene and the timing of his move. In an effort to locate Derek Montgomery, Redford Police Department coordinated with local authorities in Montana. On August 5, 2023, Deputy Sheriff Raymond Clark from the Liberty County Sheriff's Office successfully tracked down Montgomery, who was now operating a small ranch near Chester, Montana. Deputy Clark conducted an initial interview, during which Montgomery confirmed owning a blue pickup truck at the time, but denied any involvement in or knowledge of Michael Reeves's murder. Montgomery's denial, however, did not align with a newly discovered detail. During the re-examination of evidence from the crime scene, Detective Jane Marshall noted the presence of tire marks that had previously been dismissed as inconclusive. These marks, upon reanalysis, were found to be consistent with tire patterns commonly used on certain models of pickup trucks, including Montgomery's. This prompted Detective Marshall to request a voluntary matching of Montgomery's vehicle tires against the database of tire patterns, though this alone could not serve as conclusive evidence. Meanwhile, forensic auditing of Michael Reeves's financial records by Redford County Crime Lab revealed a transaction on January 6, 2009 that had escaped prior scrutiny. The transaction consisted of a $200 cash withdrawal from an ATM located near Maple Lane, just a few blocks from Montgomery's then residence. Detective Jane Marshall, in consultation with financial analyst Olivia Carpenter, speculated that the withdrawal could have been intended as payment, though the recipient and purpose remained unidentified. The renewed focus on Derek Montgomery generated interest within Michael Reeves's family, particularly his cousin, Lisa Reeves, who had been actively advocating for the case's reopening. In a public statement to the Redford Gazette on August 12, 2023, Lisa expressed her hope that the emergence of new leads might finally bring closure. "We've waited 14 years for answers. Every detail that emerges gives us a bit more hope," she stated during the interview. On August 20th, 2023, Redford Police Department's search of national databases yielded a surprising result. Derek Montgomery had a record of petty thefts and minor assaults from his time in Redford, but no significant criminal history elsewhere. Detective Marshall, wary of drawing conclusions too quickly, emphasized that while intriguing, Montgomery's past infractions did not directly link him to Michael Reeves's murder. Further complicating the case was a report filed on August 25, 2023, by local journalist Connor Delaney of the Redford Times. Delaney released excerpts from a confidential source suggesting that Michael Reeves may have been involved in a community project that had faced opposition from local business owners, including Derek Montgomery's family. This revelation potentially widened the pool of individuals with motives, though no direct evidence connected Montgomery to any such disputes. With each new revelation, the mystery surrounding Michael Reeves's murder deepened further. Redford Police Department, supported by the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit, continued to untangle the complex web of information. Yet, as of September 2023, a clear resolution remained elusive. The case, reopened and revitalized with fresh leads, stood as a testament to the enduring quest for justice in the face of uncertain truths. On October 3rd, 2023, Detective Jane Marshall of the Redford Police Department attended a town hall meeting where residents expressed concerns about the stagnant investigation into Michael Reeves's murder. At the meeting, Detective Marshall addressed a question from local resident Monica Ellis regarding the potential involvement of out-of-town suspects. She noted that while there had been preliminary investigation into connections outside Redford, no substantive leads had been developed in that direction, though the FBI continued to analyze cross-state data for any anomalies. 2 weeks later, on October 20th, 2023, an article in the Redford Gazette reported that a new forensic review of the physical evidence from 2009 was underway. Led by Dr. Leah Morgan of the Redford County Crime Lab, the review aimed to apply advanced DNA analysis techniques that had become available since the initial investigation. Dr. Morgan stated in a press release, "We are hopeful that these new methods may shed light on aspects of the case that were previously indiscernible." By early November, preliminary results were expected to provide insights into the unidentified DNA found on a black leather glove recovered near the crime scene. On November 1st, 2023, Detective Harris received an anonymous phone tip communicated through the Redford Police Department's hotline. The caller claimed to have seen a dark green SUV, similar to one previously linked to witness Carl Mitchell, parked near Millstone Trail on the night of January 7th, 2009. According to the tip, the vehicle was reportedly driven by a man matching the description of a former high school acquaintance of Michael Reeves, whose name had not been initially linked to the case. Detective Harris immediately sought to verify this lead by contacting Paul Jordan, who had previously mentioned seeing a similar vehicle. Simultaneously, Detective Marshall reviewed the financial records provided in July 2023, focusing on transactions made using Michael's credit card in the days leading up to his death. On January 5th, 2009, 2 days before his death, Michael made a purchase at Redford Outdoor Supply Co., according to store records. When interviewed by Detective Marshall, the store's manager, Jenna Freeman, recalled Michael buying a large camping knife, which was unusual given the cold weather at the time. Freeman noted this detail during a second interview conducted on November 10th, 2023, as part of the renewed investigation focus. In a press conference held on November 15, 2023, Detective Harris updated the public. He emphasized the importance of new information, stating, "We strongly encourage anyone with knowledge, however minor it may seem, to come forward. Every piece of information is critical as we reevaluate this case with fresh eyes." Harris highlighted the ongoing collaboration with the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit, which had presented potential profiles of individuals who might have had a motive to harm Reeves. Theories about the motive behind Michael Reeves's death have varied over the years. During an in-depth interview with Redford resident and former colleague of Michael, Sarah Whitaker, several possibilities were discussed. Whitaker suggested that unresolved business conflicts could be a factor. She recalled an argument she overheard between Michael and his brother Andrew at the Daily Grind, speculating that financial stress might have exacerbated tensions. This line of inquiry, however, lacked concrete evidence to substantiate its relevance to the murder. On November 20, 2023, an unexpected development arose when a new witness, Gerald Dawson, came forward after reading about the renewed investigation in the Redford Gazette. Dawson claimed to have been walking his dog near Millstone Trail on the night of January 7, 2009. He recounted hearing what he described as a heated argument between two men, followed by a loud thud. Dawson's testimony was corroborated by his wife, who confirmed his usual evening routine. Detective Marshall arranged for Dawson to review a lineup of potential persons of interest. As of late November 2023, the inquiry continued to include unresolved questions about Michael's last movements. Cell tower data placed him in several locations around Redford on the afternoon of January 7, 2009, including a brief stop at the Redford Public Library. According to librarian Andrea Nguyen, Michael borrowed a single book on local hiking trails, though he did not engage in conversation during his visit. The significance of this selection remains unclear and forms part of the wider context being reviewed by the investigative team. In the final days of November, the Redford Police Department released a public appeal via local radio stations, urging anyone who had seen or interacted with Michael on January 7, 2009, to contact them. The appeal specified the timeframe from 4 to 6 in the evening, emphasizing eyewitness accounts that might help piece together Michael's activities before his death. As detectives explored these new avenues, the overarching question persisted: who had the motive and opportunity to end Michael Reeves's life on a cold night 14 years ago? The renewed effort to resolve his murder included planned interviews and further forensic testing scheduled in December, with an aim to close the case that had remained an enduring mystery since the early days of 2009. On December 3, 2023, the Redford Police Department held a community meeting at the town hall to discuss the enduring mystery of Michael Reeves's unsolved murder. The meeting, led by Detective Jane Marshall, aimed to update the community on recent developments and encourage public cooperation. The event was attended by over 100 residents, anxious for answers after almost 15 years without resolution. The community meeting began with Detective Marshall detailing the latest forensic analyses conducted by Dr. Leah Morgan at the Redford County Crime Lab. The analyses focused on new DNA evidence recovered from the site, specifically skin cells found on a fragment of leather discovered near where Reeves's body was located. Initial tests suggested the DNA did not match any of the primary suspects previously identified in the investigation. Detective Marshall announced that the DNA profile had been entered into the Combined DNA Index System, or CODIS, but no matches had been found to date. Despite this, Marshall expressed hope that the new evidence might eventually lead to a breakthrough. She stressed the importance of new tips and leads, noting that past information had often become relevant as new details emerged. In a press conference following the meeting, Andrew Reeves, Michael's older brother, made a public appeal for renewed community involvement. He expressed gratitude for the efforts of the Redford Police Department, but urged anyone with information, no matter how insignificant it may seem, to come forward. Andrew's requests echoed throughout Redford as local radio stations replayed his statement, and the Redford Gazette published a follow-up article titled "To Renewed Hope in the Reeves Case." The impact of Michael Reeves's unsolved murder on the Redford community has been profound. Over the years, it has fostered a sense of unease, punctuated by sporadic bursts of hope with each new development. Local business owners like Jenna Freeman of Redford Outdoor Supply Co. noted a noticeable decline in evening foot traffic on Millstone Trail, a location once popular with joggers and hikers, but now overshadowed by its association with the unresolved crime. In interviews conducted by the Daily Grind's publisher, Thomas Weaver, several Redford residents expressed concern over the persistent mystery. One lifelong resident, Helen Saunders, described the case as a shadow over Redford, indicating that the murder and lack of resolution had become a defining element of the small town's identity. Meanwhile, the psychological toll on key figures associated with the case has been significant. Detective Harris, who initially led the investigation, reflected in a recent interview on the Redford Police Department's podcast about the personal investment and emotional strains faced by those working on the case. Harris admitted, "Every lead that turns into a dead end weighs heavier than the last," a sentiment that resonated deeply within the investigative community. On December 7, 2023, a new tip reached the Redford Police Department's dedicated hotline. An anonymous caller claimed to have seen an unfamiliar vehicle on the night of January 7, 2009, near the intersection of Birchwood and Maple Lane, a detail not previously reported. The caller described the vehicle as a black SUV, similar to one identified in earlier stages of the investigation. This new information prompted the police to revisit records of vehicle registrations in the area from that time. Detective Marshall confirmed that the department had contacted the Department of Motor Vehicles to cross-reference the description with vehicles registered in Redford around January 2009. Although the process would take time, it represented a tangible lead in a case that had long appeared stagnant. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit, which was brought in to consult on the case, provided further insights into the potential profile of Michael Reeves's killer. According to Monica Ellis, a supervising analyst, the profile suggested a perpetrator familiar with Millstone Trail, possibly someone comfortable navigating its paths even at night. Ellis's statement, delivered during a televised segment by WRFV, emphasized the importance of considering local knowledge in the investigation. In response to the renewed focus, local authorities have increased patrols around Millstone Trail, not only to reassure residents, but also to possibly trigger the memory of someone who might recall seeing something unusual around the time of the murder. Chief of Police Raymond Bennett stated at a December 10, 2023, briefing that these efforts were part of a broader strategy to keep the case active in the public consciousness. Despite the years of unanswered questions and false leads, the Redford community has continued to rally around the Reeves family. Memorial gatherings held annually by the local church have reinforced a collective remembrance of Michael, ensuring that his case remains at the forefront of community discussion. As the end of December approached, Detective Jane Marshall indicated that plans were underway to convene a new task force dedicated solely to reviewing cold cases within Redford County, with Michael Reeves's murder as a top priority. This task force would include seasoned detectives as well as fresh recruits, a blend that authorities hoped might bring new perspectives to lingering mysteries. The decision to establish the task force was influenced by a recent donation from an anonymous benefactor, reportedly a former resident with ties to the Reeves family. The funding was earmarked to support advanced forensic technologies and additional manpower, resources that had previously been limited due to budgetary constraints. As 2023 drew to a close, the legacy of Michael Reeves's unsolved case remained a complex tapestry woven into the fabric of Redford. While the mystery persisted, the community's resolve to seek justice showed no signs of diminishing, a testament to the enduring impact of a single tragedy on an entire town. On December 10, 2023, Detective Jane Marshall stood before a filled room in the Redford Community Center. The gathering was a continuation of efforts to reignite interest in the 14-year-old unsolved murder of Michael Reeves. New details had emerged over the last month, spearheaded by the task force chief Raymond Bennett established, which included FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit members and other specialized personnel. Their intention was to explore all historical and recent evidence with fresh eyes. According to the official statement released later, Detective Marshall described to the community how a recent anonymous benefactor had significantly funded the task force's activities, allowing them to pursue advanced forensic testing techniques not previously accessible. This funding enabled the Redford County Crime Lab, under the direction of Dr. Leah Morgan, to reanalyze various physical evidence items using updated DNA extraction methods. One focal point of this new investigation involved a fabric fragment discovered at the original crime scene on Millstone Trail. While previous tests had failed to provide a complete profile, the new procedures revealed two potential familial matches in CODIS, the combined DNA index system. These matches, while not directly linked to any known suspect, provided a potential lead and renewed hope that familial searches could narrow down their investigation to specific lineages. During a press conference later that day, Chief Bennett disclosed that the task force was delving into the financial records of persons of interest identified in previous phases of the investigation. Notably, they were re-examining transactions around the date of Michael Reeves's death, specifically any unusual bank activity that might suggest motive or opportunity. On November the 20th, 2023, investigators confirmed a previously overlooked withdrawal of $10,000 from an account associated with Gerald Dawson, a name mentioned at the community meeting due to his presence at Millstone Trail on the night in question. An anonymous tip sent to the Redford Police Department's tip line on December 7th, 2023, further complicated the case. The caller claimed to have seen a black SUV near Millstone Trail on the night of Michael Reeves's murder. The detail matched a vehicle description noted in the original police reports, but never verified as belonging to any suspect. Cross-referencing with the Department of Motor Vehicles records, the team identified over 15 black SUVs registered in the Redford area during the relevant period. Detectives are currently in the process of narrowing down the list to those most strongly connected to the geographical and temporal aspects of the case. Despite these developments, Detective Marshall stressed the challenges of the investigation given the passage of time and the evolving nature of forensic technology. "Every new test opens up possibilities," she stated in a press conference on December 11th, 2023. "But it also requires us to revisit and sometimes question prior conclusions." A parallel investigation is also exploring possible connections between Michael Reeves and known associates who have since moved out of state, including James O'Connor and Derek Montgomery, who relocated to Montana shortly after the murder. FBI agents working in conjunction with the Liberty County Sheriff's Office are conducting interviews to verify alibis and establish whether there were undisclosed links to Michael Reeves that may provide additional context to the crime. Meanwhile, Case File 98013 has continued to yield unexpected insights. Forensic analysis of a single glass shard found at the scene, initially deemed inconclusive in 2009, has now identified traces of a unique adhesive compound. Dr. Alan Pearson from the Redford County Crime Lab noted in a December 12th report that the compound was commonly used in vehicle repair, potentially aligning with an earlier anonymous tip about a local automotive repair shop. Redford Outdoor Supply Co., where Michael Reeves was last seen purchasing hiking gear, also remains a point of inquiry. In recent weeks, employees have been re-interviewed to confirm their recollections of the day Michael visited. Jenna Freeman, the store manager at the time, provided a statement that recalled a peculiar incident involving a customer who expressed excessive interest in Michael's specific equipment choices. Despite initial skepticism about the relevance of this detail, investigators have chosen to pursue it further, adding another layer to the complex timeline of events. As the year 2023 draws to a close, the Redford Gazette continues to follow the story closely, with journalists like Monica Ellis providing regular updates to the public. In an article dated December 15, 2023, Ellis highlighted ongoing public appeals for information, emphasizing the role of community engagement in uncovering new evidence. According to a December 16th release from the Redford Police Department, over 30 new tips have been received since the last community meeting, demonstrating a renewed public interest and hope for resolution. In all, while the case remains unsolved, the renewed efforts have rekindled community involvement and opened new avenues for investigation. As Detective Marshall and the dedicated task force members persist in their efforts, the question of who killed Michael Reeves continues to loom over the Redford community, compelling all involved to press forward in pursuit of justice.